Thank you so
Honor.
much.
I'm really relieved now. I can tell everybody to...
Mr. Fresneda looks like Bob Marley with his dreadlocks. And that is kind of fitting because today's DNA test result may leave him singing No Woman, No Cry. Mr. Thompson wants to prove that Mr. Fresneda is not really the father of Ms. Jasmine Robinson, who Mr. Fresneda calls his beloved daughter. Here is why Mr. Thompson, who has never met Ms. Robinson, thinks she won't be beloved no more.
Me and her mother had relations while Miss Fresneda was away. When Miss Fresneda came back into the picture, I stopped seeing Sonia, and she was pregnant. When the child was born, the family members came to me stating, you know, that she looks like me and things of that nature.
Never, really. What a shock that must be. Imagine waking up one day and learning that some bald man may be your father when your real dad has such beautiful locks of hair. That would crush me, personally. Seriously, guys. Anyway, what makes Mr. Thompson so certain anyway, and why would he just reach out today?
It's sorry to say, but, you know, I got a phone call saying that she had passed away. And I was like...
Are you speaking of Jasmine's mother, Ms. Robinson's mother?
Yes, and it was her wishes to say that it was Mr. Fresneda's baby. They raised her, but I'm here today.
Yikes. You learn that your former lover died, and the first thing you decide to do is see if you can break up her child's life and her memory by coming out about an affair you had with her decades ago. It is little wonder you don't have a lot of hair, Mr. Thompson. Here is how Ms. Jasmine even found out about all of this.
So I had called my Aunt Felicia, and I said, Auntie Felicia, this guy named Ladner Thompson's messaging me on Facebook saying that he's my dad and not my dad. And then she was like, what's his name? And I had said Ladner Thompson, and she's like, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, what? And then she started explaining to me like, oh yeah, he was with your mom while your dad was away.
Do you find it weird that people become experts in skull and face structure when they come to paternity court? Anyway, let's listen to Mr. Fresneda. What does he even have to say about all of this?
All right, so Mr. Fresneda, you had heard of Mr. Thompson.
Yes, we know each other.
You knew who he was.
Yes.
You were fully aware.
Of course.
Okay. And so what was the story as you understood?
I asked her mother, and like he says, on more than one occasion, and she always said to me that Jasmine was my firstborn, and that was good enough for me, Your Honor.
Oh, so this isn't shocking at all to Mr. Fresneda. It seems he knew this day was coming and accepted it completely. That's really rare, especially in paternity court where people get up to all sorts of annoying hijinks. And now let's listen to Jasmine's aunt and learn what her mother was thinking.
Did she ever mention to you that Mr. Thompson could potentially be Ms. Robinson's father?
She always denied it. If we brought it to her attention, she always said that Ladner was not Jasmine's father.
So why were you bringing it to her attention?
Because as Jasmine was growing up, as the aunt, started seeing a little difference.
Yikes. That is never a great sign when it comes to things like this. It's never a great sign at all. Anyway, here's what Mr. Robinson wants if the DNA test proves that he is indeed Jasmine's father.
Exactly.
To yours.
And if she is my child, I want to build a relationship with her, you know, and her kids.
And
all
this
my
is the
kids.
first time you've ever met in person, truly
Yes.
met.
First time I ever laid eyes on her.
How do you feel as you look at her?
I feel hurt. I also feel happy.
Well, that's what the truth is for. If it has to come out, then it has to come out. That's the only way. And now we have the DNA test result that will help us truly learn the truth.
Whether Mr. Thompson or Mr. Fresneda is the father of 29-year-old Jasmine Robinson. The biological father is Mr. Thompson. You are her father.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Right.
Sorry.
Mr. Lindsay is here to chew gum and break up a happy family, and he's all out of gum. The ironic thing is that this happy family of the Knowles have been in paternity court once before, so they are technically not that happy of a family. Anyway, Mrs. Knowles says she is 100,000% sure that Mr. Lindsay isn't the father of her daughter, and the drama starts immediately.
Mrs. Knowles doesn't want to admit that she was with you and her husband during the same time, and once you're proven to be her child's father, you will fight for custody. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Miss Knowles, when you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell?
Me.
Him. Me.
He was in the hospital with me.
I was in the hospital room.
Welp. Someone is certainly lying here, and it's hard to know who it is. Is it the flustered Mrs. Knowles, or the super confident and very attractive-looking Mr. Lindsay? Well, it gets better, guys. It gets way better.
You remember getting a text message that said that this child would more than likely...
I don't have no more because I don't have that phone because she sort of took the phone when we broke up. But, yes, I do remember that.
What did you do?
I asked her if it was mine or his, and I was told it was more than likely mine, but could have one 100% chance of being his.
That's the face of someone who's being a bit economical with the truth, right? Does Mrs. Knowles look even a tiny bit trustworthy to you? She doesn't to me. Let's listen to Mr. Lindsay's evidence of why this is his biological child.
With the evidence that I have here, she was either sleeping with both of us or sleeping with me because she was living at my house during the time that she would have conceded.
Really? Let me see that. Thank you, Jerome. What does this evidence show me,
It's
Mr.
a
Lindsley?
calendar.
And please describe to the court what it outlines.
She claims that she was back with Mr. Knowles.
Mrs. Knowles says this is a lie because her husband has photographic evidence showing that she was at his house around the period of conception. But there are still some shocking details that wow the court. Like this one right here.
When I had my mom go pick up her stuff, all of her stuff was at a different house, not Mr. Lindsley's.
Yeah, because she destroyed my house as she moved her stuff out, but that's another story.
And so she wasn't even really staying with Mr. Lindsley at the time.
She was staying with a friend of hers.
Okay, maybe the Knowles will be back here in paternity court for the third time because this story is heating up. Through all of this, Mr. Knowles is 110% sure that this child belongs to him, and his wife backs him up.
Look at him. He's got my eyes. He's got my hair. He's even got my...
Your hairline?
Yeah, my hairline.
Same hairline? That's what you were showing me?
But he looks like me all around. He's my little prodigy.
I just want to get the results, Your Honor, and be done with him, period. It's chaotic. I want to move on with my family and be away from all this.
Wouldn't that just be grand? But that is not how it works over here, sweetie. But Mr. Lindsay has a shocking confession to make. He says Mrs. Knowles just does this thing where she goes back and forth every 2 months. Listen to him talk.
I really don't know why she changes her mind every 2 months.
Why do you say every 2 months?
We'll quit talking for a month and a half here and there, and then next I know, I'll get a message from a random number talking about, hi.
There is no way, shape, or form I contact this man. I keep
So
blocking every single
You don't
number.
have a Google text message app?
No.
A total complete mess. And you know Judge Lauren knows what she is talking about because she has seen many messes over the years. But Mrs. Knowles says this never happened and she never goes back and forth with anyone. Well, except for that one time when she used to do exactly that.
The only time that I went back and forth with anybody is when I was with my exes, and I left them to be with him because I wanted to be happy. When I found out I was pregnant with my last child when we came to court, I wanted to make things work before we, came and did all that stuff. And I tried to make it work because I was happy then for a while.
Really? Tears? Really? Is Mrs. Knowles here trying to play the victim? And did she just confess that she only went back to her husband after her boyfriend kicked her out? You know what? Mr. Knowles is surely one of God's strongest soldiers. Surely! Gosh, please let us see that DNA test and put this family out of their misery.
Mr. Lindsley, or Mr. Knowles, is the father of 3-month-old Tyler Knowles Jr. The biological father is Mr. Knowles.
I knew he was my child all along. The way he looks at me. You can see in his eyes the way he looks at me.
Ms. Conrad thought it would be a pretty rad thing to have an affair with the milkman, constantly cheat on her husband, and generally be a horrible mother and wife. She thought she would get away with it, but today her daughter is in court to expose her and prove her infidelity. Anyway, Mr. Horton, the father of Ms. Horton, says he isn't sure Ms. Horton is his child.
If she really is mine, I have no idea. I don't know. She was unfaithful all the time, but I raised my daughter since she was little. But I'm getting slack from other family members and friends that say that she's not my daughter because she has blue eyes, and I have brown. The whole family has brown. The mother has brown eyes. There's nobody in my family has blue eyes.
Phew! But Ms. Conrad says it's all a lie, and she is 100 to 200% sure that Ms. Horton belongs to Mr. Horton. Okay, but why not 1,000% then? Ms. Conrad, well, Mr. Horton isn't buying that gobbledock.
Ms. Horton is not.
Rebuttal. I mean, if you sleep around with different men and you're sleeping at the same time, how can you be sure who the parent is? How can you be sure?
Because I know when I did.
So it is your testimony that Ms. Conrad was sleeping around with various men.
My kids can tell you that. She can tell you that. One time we were in the house.
That's a lot of sneaky business, Ms. Conrad. And guess what? Just take a guess. Ms. Conrad admits all of it. She's been cheating quite all right, but she says it isn't all that bad because she just did it when the kids were born, which makes everything just great, doesn't it? But Mr. Horton disagrees a lot.
In that period of time, there was always been affairs, always. In my opinion, if there's many stuck out of it in her, she'd be a porcupine. And that's the way I look at it.
That was wrong.
I just got that. Okay, We want to be respectful in the courtroom.
I'm trying to be respectful. That's why I put it nice.
Well, that is surely an interesting way to frame things. You know what? You might be correct that I cheated on you with 10,000 men, but please say it respectfully. But Mr. Horton isn't done. He is 1,000,000% sure that Ms. Conrad was seeing other men during the time Ms. Horton was conceived. Listen to him go.
And we had a mailman that had light hair and blue eyes and had a beauty mark right here. My daughter has blue eyes, blonde hair, and a beauty mark in the same exact spot.
It's cute though.
There was a mailman in your town.
Yes, there was.
Sir, you brought an exhibit.
Yes, ma'am.
Gosh, imagine living with the knowledge that your child may not actually be related to you all this time. And if this is true, then we could probably safely assume that Ms. Horton isn't Mr. Horton's kid. But let's hear from Ms. Conrad and see if this is just a nice accidental coincidence that's totally coincidental.
You had outside relationship.
Yeah, that was after Brenda was born.
But this was after the children were born. You said, but you know who this mailman is. He's talking about. You don't even remember this person.
Oh, no, Your Honor. This is new to me.
That's because there was so many of them.
So the milkman, what happened to the milkman?
Hold on.
It's the mailman. It was the milkman.
Wow, this is one messy family. But things are about to get crazier because Ms. Conrad says all of this is a waste of her precious time. Why would she say that? Well, she has had a DNA test done before, and the result was that Mr. Horton was her child's father. And here is what Mr. Horton has to say about that.
Mr. Horton, have you ever seen this paperwork?
That story is fabricated. There was no judge ordered anything. I asked for the DNA test. I never seen nothing. I've been questioning Tony since she's been born, and she's even questioned it. That's the reason why we're here, Your Honor.
Since the day this child was born,
no,
26 years ago, you've questioned whether or not she was yours?
Yes.
So we've got a mailman, a milkman, and a DNA test result that could probably be fake. We don't know what the DNA test is going to tell us, but it will certainly end this mystery once and for all. And let's hear it.
Mr. Horton, you are the father.
Oh my God! Yes! Mommy, you were right! You were right, Mommy!
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been such a blessing.
I'm really relieved now. I can tell everybody to kiss my butt.
Well, listen, you could have just said, I can live with this doubt. Let's never get the answer. Right.
You know that feeling when you accidentally pay child support and then only realize your mistake 18 years later? Wait, you don't know that feeling? Well, Mr. Ditmer here knows all about it, and that's his claim today. He says he just accidentally agreed to pay child support for Ms. Lee, and he is certainly not her daughter's father.
Couldn't have paid child support, Your Honor. They sent certified mail to my mother's house, and I wasn't there. I was in Colorado. And when the certified mail came, my stepdad signed it. So they held court without me and found me in default because I wasn't there. Well, anyways, when I came back from Colorado, it was...
Gosh, that can leave a man extremely bitter. But Ms. Krieger isn't just coming empty-handed. She says she has loads of pictures that will prove her case with basically zero doubt. And here are those explosive pictures.
Jamie as a baby.
Jamie as a little girl.
Yes.
The next picture is
Mr. Ditmer.
Mr. Ditmer, and you believe they look exactly alike.
Look at him, yeah. How can he deny her?
Do you see the similarity?
Not really, Your Honor.
Miss Lee, were you intimate with anyone else?
Yes, I was.
Okay, that's not really great evidence either, but we'll take it. Our absent father who accidentally paid child support here also has something he calls evidence to prove his claim.
The older two children have blue eyes and blonde hair. Jamie's always had darker hair with a hazel or brown.
And you never claimed them or paid child support on them. Why?
Well, because you didn't tag them, and you never had me sign
If you were a man and responsible,
certificate.
you would have signed the birth certificate.
Yeah, exactly. That expression on Judge Lauren's face, precisely. Because this case is going to get even weirder before it gets better. It might not even get better. So Mr. Ditmer has 2 older children, but he says Ms. Jamie Krieger isn't his daughter because, and get this, she's a fatso.
The older children have blonde hair, blue eyes. Jamie has dark hair, hazel or brown eyes. The older children are more athletic.
Well, every child is different.
Well, why would she trick me into paying child support like that, Your Honor? I mean, I wasn't even at the hospital when Jamie was born.
You most certainly were.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, but why does the mother sound like the Green Goblin all of a sudden? But this husband and wife spat isn't done yet. In fact, it's not even yet started. Look at them argue.
Oh, it's because her mother was messing around with another fella about the time that Jamie was conceived.
No,
I believe
I
a couple
was not,
other fellas.
Your Honor.
Yes, you were.
I had been going to church, Your Honor. encounter with his mother, and I had given my life to the Lord, and that is how it happened, because I went off the pill. I said, I'm not having sex again until I'm married.
Imagine being Jaime Lee and sat there watching your parents air out all their dirty laundry. Gosh, I would be so embarrassed for them and for me. And even Judge Lauren agrees.
Now, this is unfortunate, Miss Krieger, Jamie, that you have to hear any of this.
From what I hear, my mom's admitted it was, but it was the sister before me, but he doesn't deny her, and he always gripes about how he had to pay child support on me.
And that leads you to believe that it's about the money.
Yes, that's why it's
Your Honor, the child
a little
support's
bit
been
more.
paid. I've got the final payment right here.
Great! So he paid the child support and was done with that. But that doesn't mean Mr. Ditmer had any plans on admitting that Jaime was his daughter, and that's why we are in paternity court today. He also has a few more words for Miss Lee.
It's because her mother's greedy. I mean, when Jamie lived with a lady on the next street behind her mother, the child support check went to the next street over, and her mother got upset.
What I'm trying to get at, Miss Krieger, beyond the money, I mean, this has had to affect you. And I see the tears in your eyes. It's as if she has so much in her heart to say.
That is completely true. What we should be concerned with is the DNA test results, and Judge Lake has that for us today. So who is the father? Mr. Ditmer or somebody else?
Mr. Ditmer, you are her father.
Oh.
How do you feel now that you know for sure he's your biological father?
I never had any doubts. It's just been dealing with all this.
Mr. Young says he will fight to the death to avoid being trapped by a child. That's right. He says Ms. Nichols' baby can never be his child, and that she just wants to use the baby to make his life miserable. But what could he have done to Ms. Nichols to make her that mad?
He started denying my daughter before his new relationship. He actually started denying her when I moved out of his house because he was cheating.
Really?
I've known Mr. Young for 19 years. We met when we were 15 years old, and when I met him again on Facebook, you know, we automatically moved in together, you know.
That's a lie. We didn't automatically move in. She hit me up on Facebook, talking about because she'd been trying to find me.
Yeah, wow, indeed. This potential father says that Nichols was living with her sugar daddy when he met her, and that her baby belongs to the sugar daddy. And Nichols says that a total and complete lie from the depths of hell. Here is what she says happened.
An entire year?
An entire year.
And during that time, you all were having a sexual relationship as well?
Only that, yes.
You said only that?
Yeah, because it was nothing more. That's all she wanted to do.
You know, there's plenty of statuses on my Facebook where us together. He even had changed his relationship status.
Yikes, Mr. Young. Don't get caught in easy lies like that. If it's gonna be so easy to catch you in a lie, don't even tell the lie. But Mr. Young ain't no slacker either. He's got his own evidence too.
She was telling this man that she was living with, that I was her cousin.
Yes, I absolutely did.
When he was bringing her over to my house, dropping her off, and she telling me that he's just a friend of the family, but couldn't find out
no,
he
I
was
did
the man
not.
that she was sleeping with.
No, Your
Okay,
Honor.
wait a minute. Who is this man?
He's a friend of mine.
Do you have sex with him?
No, I do not.
You don't have
How
sex?
old is he?
73.
You know what, Nichols? That sounds exactly like a sugar daddy. A 73-year-old man who does any and everything you ask him to. That's a sugar father right there. Lots of sugar, in fact. Too much sugar. Anyway, Mr. Young can't complain too much because he got a little sugar from the sugar dispensary too. Now let's find out if Nichols really slept with this man.
Your Honor, she told me that she used to. She told me she used to sleep with him before. She cut it off.
No, I did
That's
not.
what she told me. I said, well, ain't no, because I told her ain't no man gonna be giving her no money without him not getting nothing in return. She said,
I told
oh well,
him that we
he's
had
just a friend of the
contact,
family.
never intercourse.
Sexual contact. What was sexual
never
contact?
Intercourse.
What's sexual
You don't
contact?
know the difference between sexual
What's
contact
sexual
and intercourse?
contact? That means you sleeping with him.
Sheesh. You might think, hold up, this can't get worse than this. And you would be very wrong, because this web of sugar daddies and babies and boyfriends just gets even weirder with everything Nichols says.
Everybody done told me.
Okay, well, y'all so much talking about my sugar daddy. I haven't lied to either one of them about this man.
Yes, you did lie to you lied to the sugar daddy about me, and you lied to me first.
I lied to him about you, but I did not lie to Sean about him.
So why
You
was you-
said you lied to the sugar daddy about Mr. Young.
Yes, I did.
Because he didn't want him to get cut off.
What did you say?
I told him that he was my cousin.
If it's the truth, then it's the truth, baby. Let's talk more about the truth. Judge Lauren administered a lie detector test on Nichols to find out if she was telling the truth about her sugar daddy, and here is what the test said.
When we asked you if once you began a sexual relationship with Sean, did you have sexual intercourse with anyone else, you said yes.
Yes.
Wow.
And the lie detector determined you were being truthful. Mr. Young, you seem surprised by that.
No, I don't. I'm saying wow because I already knew that.
Well, that seems convenient. Now let us find out the truth. Is Mr. Young the father, or is the father some older gentleman who Nichols calls her sugar daddy? Judge Lauren has the truth for us.
Mr. Young, you are her father.
Surprise, surprise.
And I see tears in your eyes because what do you feel in this
Because, like, his dad wasn't in his life. So he should know that how I would feel, how his mom felt. Break the cycle.
Now we know this is your biological daughter.
Yes, ma'am. That's what
You can't keep going on the way you going. This little girl is gonna grow up with all of this negative energy surrounding her.
Mr. Adams could go to jail today for not paying child support if the court determines he is the father of Ms. Williams' kid. He has been prohibited by law from leaving his state, so he has joined this session through video conferencing. The defendant, Ms. Williams, says that Mr. Adams' legal issues are his own fault, and his mother, Mrs. Adams, is here in court as well. Let us hear from her.
Your Honor, my son is now facing jail because of this situation.
This very moment, you're concerned that he could be arrested for failure to pay child support for a child that both of you have doubts is even his child.
True, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, Your Honor, I can hear you.
All right, so enlighten me on this situation.
Okay, Mr. Judge of Ms. Williams agrees that it was not a committed relationship and was basically an off and on thing. But does that not mean she cannot be sure that he is the father since she has slept with so many men? Well, Ms. Williams says their doubt is valid, but somehow Mr. Adams is the one who's been forced to run from the law. Weird how that works. But Ms. Williams has a great reason for this.
Everybody agrees may or may not be his.
I asked him twice to get the DNA test. I'm hungover. He was giving me excuses, basically. So I took it upon myself to get help with the DNA test. It wasn't for no money at all.
No one ever wants to be at fault for these sorts of things. But Ms. Williams has a whole lot more to share, and that makes this case one of the messiest ones to have ever appeared on paternity court.
You're the father or whatever, so we just went through that whole year. I was pregnant. I didn't mention him about the baby until I found out it wasn't my ex.
So when you got pregnant, you didn't even include Mr. Adams in this equation.
No, I didn't.
You thought it was your ex's.
So it is an open and shut case then. If the baby does not belong to her ex, then it must surely belong to Mr. Adams, right? Well, that is not quite how things work over here in paternity court. Cases get a lot more complex than that. So how did Mr. Adams get into this legal? Well, Ms. Williams said she now knew that he was her baby dad, so she went to the state to get help.
It got to the point where you needed help, and so you went to the, and then during that time, you had to name who the potential father could be.
Yes, I did.
And you gave his name. And then he was ordered to go to court. Mr. Adams, did you go to court?
No, Your Honor.
And that is how Mrs. Adams here says she once overheard Ms. Williams tell her daughter that Mr. Adams was not the father, and Ms. Williams says that never happened. And here is how she puts it.
Question came up, father the child, and she said no.
That's
actually.
a lie.
So you heard her say no?
Yes, she said no in my living, and she's over there talking about it's a lie, and she was in my very own living room. Said it.
I wouldn't have never came to your son. A possibility is a possibility. I never said no, and I never said he was the father.
Well, let us hope that Ms. Williams is really not lying, because that could be extremely embarrassing. Of course, Mrs. Adams says that this makes her very doubtful that the child is for her son, and honestly, it makes me kind of doubtful too. Well, it is the time for the truth, because Mr. Adams is now alleging some really...
Well, actually, Your Honor, I do feel like it was other people as well.
What evidence you have suggested?
My mother told me that talked to Miss Williams, and that Miss Williams stated that she had some other guys.
That was my ex I had tested. There wasn't no other guys, it was just one.
Just the ex, right? Okay then, if you say so, Ms. Williams, if you say so. Mrs. Adams and Ms. Williams have been quite cordial up until this point, but something sparks between them, and then they start shouting at each other in court.
If she would have known who the father of her child was from jump, having all that sex with all them guys
yes,
unprotected,
I did, and I'm gonna own up to it. Yes, I did.
You wouldn't be going through this.
It's a possibility. I had sex with your son, not you.
It don't matter. If that child is the child of my son, it'll be my grandson.
There is surely no love lost between these two. Anyway, it is time to get this over with and see if Ms. Williams has been lying all this while. Is Mr. Adams the father, or is the father another man?
That Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Mr. Adams, you done come to the wrong courtroom clowning. This is not a joke. It's nothing to dance about. It's nothing to laugh about. Your future was on the line because of your bad decisions. Now you should be ashamed of yourself.
Mr. Hunter caught Ms. Davies in the act of cheating on him and then called off his wedding to her. He is also now disputing the paternity of Ms. Davies' son Jaden and believes he is not the father. Ms. Davies says all of this is a lie, and Mr. Hunter is basically seeing ghosts. Here is how Ms. Davies sees things.
Ms. Davies, Jaden is 4 years old. What took you so long to come to court?
Well, Your Honor, me and Devon, like you stated, have been together for 5 years, almost 6. And due to all the rumors, he no longer wants to get married. He has cut off our wedding plans. So I'm here today to prove that he is the father of Jaden.
This sounds like a really confident woman. A woman as confident as Ms. Davies can surely not be lying about the paternity of her child, right? Such weird things never happen on paternity court, right? Right? Anyway, Ms. Davies says she is not the cheat in this relationship, and the cheat is actually Mr. Hunter.
We were happy when we first got together, but then I started finding text messages, phone calls from other females. So at that point of the relationship, Your Honor, I no longer trusted him at all.
Well, I found messages in her phone too, same thing. So that's why I started doing the things I was doing.
Messages from whom?
Messages like, when you coming out, can I come get you?
Oh, so both of them just continued cheating on one another. That cannot be healthy. But Ms. Davies has a good reason for cheating on her husband. Yes, she actually does, if you can believe it. And she does us the favor of sharing that reason with us.
Then I decided that, okay, two can play that game, and I decided to go out and talk to someone else.
Now, once you did that, what happened?
Well, once I did that, I briefly had a relationship with a guy. We were sexually together a few times.
Did you use
Why
protection?
she with me?
A couple times we did not, Your Honor.
Well, she did not sleep with the man. She was just sexually in contact with him. Anyway, Ms. Davies soon got pregnant off that one sexual contact, and now we have got to ask the million-dollar question. How does she know that the baby belongs to Mr. Hunter instead of some other man? Let us hear from her.
I couldn't say I was 100% sure at the time, but I wanted Devon to be the father because he has been there in my life for, at this time, we've been together like 2.5 years.
All right, so now we're getting honest now, and
Right.
that's what we're here to do.
Right.
The truth is when you told him you wanted him to be, but you didn't know for certain.
Yes, Your Honor.
At least we are now getting some sorely needed truths in this building. Mr. Hunter says he immediately had paternity doubt when she told him she was pregnant. He based this doubt off rumors and things he had heard and seen himself. So what things did this man hear and see that made him doubt that his partner was carrying his baby?
People tell me that she been hanging out, hopping in and out of cars, you know what I mean? I had a friend that told me they went to a party one time and she hooked up with some guy at the party. That was around the time when the baby was finna be conceived.
You're not denying it. You're just smirking, Miss Davies. What's the story?
I did go to parties.
Well, maybe that is false, Ms. Davies. But you literally just told us now that you had sexual contact several times with another man, so Mr. Hunter is right to have a mountain of paternity doubts. And then Mr. Hunter has another interesting story for us.
I'm at her house, right? She let me stay over her house. I had been drinking, so I wanted to go lay down, right? I accidentally fall asleep longer than I'm supposed to, so she's thinking I'm gone. She brings another guy and another girl upstairs into the room while I'm in there. So then she makes me leave.
Wait, I was kind of wrong. Mr. Hunter should not have a mountain of paternity doubts. He should have several mountains of one and maybe a C, or two as well. But Ms. Davies kind of explains it away. But her explanation is not quite helpful. Just listen to her.
I did let him come over just because he was drinking. He said he needs to sleep it off for a while. So I'm thinking he's gone. And so I did come with the guy and the girl to my house and my room.
What were you bringing the guy and the girl in your room to do?
Your Honor,
We all know what that's finna do.
we did plan on having sexual encounter.
So there are now at least two different guys in the equation, and somehow Ms. Davies insists that her son belongs to Mr. Hunter. She gets so upset about everything that she starts to cry, and that just makes Mr. Hunter tell the court even more embarrassing stories. Listen to him go.
You can't be too hurt right now, 'cause it's not the first time. I caught her in the kitchen. We sitting in the living room one day, and then she gets up and walks to the kitchen, and she's in the kitchen for like maybe 10, 15 minutes. She's supposed to come back already. I walk around to the kitchen, and she's damn near standing in between this guy's legs. Like, you know what I mean? What is that about?
What is this about? Because you say it hurts to hear you.
You know what? We have heard enough. It is time to check out the DNA test results and see what is actually going on here. Is Ms. Davies just a big fat liar? Or is Mr. Hunter just trying to run from his responsibilities?
Mr. Hunter, you are not father.
I told you.
I'm very sorry. Ms. Davies, are we to assume that this other gentleman is Jaden's biological father, the one you spoke about in your testimony, or is there someone else? Let's be honest.
No, there's no one else, Your Honor.
Mrs. Cleveland cheated on her husband with his friend, but claims that her husband is the father of her 17-month-old child, Hunter. Despite cheating, she has absolutely no doubt that he is the father of her child, and she thinks a positive DNA test today will save her marriage. Here is how she says the marriage looks like today.
My marriage is currently on the rocks. We argue on the daily. I see him
treating our son differently than he does his daughter, and it bothers me inside.
I try not to treat him any differently. I try to treat him like he's mine.
You said you try to.
It's a little hard sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, Your Honor. I mean, there's that thought there that he is not mine, and...
Mrs. Cleveland says that she fights all the time with her husband because of this, and her marriage has basically been going downhill. But there must be a reason why her husband is having all these fights with her, right? Well, Mr. Cleveland tries to get into it, but Ms. Cleveland has a different perspective on how things went down.
Yes, Your Honor, it does. I mean, like she said, I feel like I'm living a lie, Your Honor. You know, I've been lied to and cheated on, you know.
Your Honor, I've never cheated on him.
Oh.
I left him before I ever did anything with any other man.
Okay, so the text and everything behind my back isn't cheating. I consider that cheating.
What are the texts behind your back?
Like sexy messages, like I miss you, I love you, you're so handsome.
But that kind of means you were certainly cheating on your husband, right? And remember that just before admitting to cheating, Mrs. Cleveland said that she had never cheated, so this woman is certainly not above lying in court. Here is Mrs. Cleveland's perspective on things.
I was ready to call it quits. I was ready to wash my hands with the whole situation. I was ready for a divorce. He finds out that I kissed this guy and he wants to be husband of the world, you know? He wanted to be a perfect husband.
When did you find out you were pregnant with Hunter?
I found out 2 weeks before we got back together.
And once you found out you were pregnant, you all reconciled?
Yes.
You decided to reconcile, Mr. Cleveland?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow. Mr. Cleveland clearly loves this baby so much. It will be such a shame if it turns out he is not the father. 1 month after the child was born, Mrs. Cleveland drops the bombshell and tells Mr. Cleveland the truth that he might not be the father. And that was not the only bombshell she dropped.
Him the first month I was pregnant, that it could be his or his friend.
Now.
Wait, what? Hold on, don't just gloss over that. You told him a month. What did you say?
I was a month pregnant and I told him it could be his child, but it could also be his friend's because me and his friend had a sexual relationship.
No, she didn't, Your Honor. Otherwise, I would not have stuck around through that pregnancy if I knew there was
Wait a minute.
He told me
so wait.
This is just so messy. Mr. Cleveland says if he knew that the child could belong to his friend, he would have never stuck around for the birth. He says she only told him she even slept with any of his friends after the birth of Hunter, and that nothing like that happened before the birth. So why did Mrs. Cleveland even sleep with her husband's friend? Well, the reason might shock you.
His friend was giving me a different lifestyle. He was cleaning my lifestyle up. I was involved in church every Sunday. I wasn't out running the streets like I was with my husband. At the time, I was doing something with myself, and it made me...
You were going to church every Sunday and you end up sleeping with your husband's friend?
No.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, what is worse? Your wife sleeping with your friend because he has more money than you, or your wife sleeping with your friend despite him not having more money than you? From where I am sitting, both things are equally painful. But Mrs. Cleveland at least says she regrets it. That must count for something, right?
Was it just one time or were you all in a full relationship?
No, it was just once. It was just a one-time thing. I felt horrible about it. My heart was with my husband. I love him with all my heart. And I knew that it was wrong for me to be having sexual relationships with him when I didn't even care for him in that manner.
So if you didn't care for him like that to begin with, why would you go to him?
What a really chatty couple. But even after she got back with her husband, Mrs. Cleveland did not stop cheating. In fact, she sort of continued from where she left off by kissing another man even while they were married. Here is how she explains it.
End up kissing another guy when you're married. What happened?
Adam and I continuously fight every day, in and out, from the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep. And he was at work. I had gotten a message from this guy that I'd been friends with since 7th grade, talking about how beautiful I was.
Wow, really? Mrs. Cleveland says she confessed to her husband a week later, but he insists that that never happened. Instead, he says he got a gut feeling that she had cheated and then went through her phone and found evidence. That is one of the reasons he has now made this decision.
If he's not mine and if the lie detector test proves that she is lying, I'm afraid this marriage is going to be over. I can't continue to do this. I really can't.
Miss Cleveland?
Yes, Your Honor.
The stakes are high here today.
It hurts. It hurts a lot.
You came into court believing that your husband was 100% the father of this beautiful little boy.
Yes, Your Honor.
The stakes have never been higher, but despite that Mrs. Cleveland is 100% certain that her husband is the father of her child, Hunter, let us put that assurance to test by checking out the results of the DNA test.
Mr. Cleveland,
yes,
you are not the father.
I thought so. I really thought so. I mean, I see it.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Miss Cleveland?
Yes, ma'am.
You had told him that it possibly could be someone else's biological child.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burnett insists that he cannot be the father of Ms. Fuel because her mother was a neighborhood girl. He says Ms. Fuel is now badgering him because her mother told her crazy lies about him being her father. For some strange reason, Ms. Fuel's mother has decided not to come to paternity court, so we only have Ms. Fuel and Mr. Burnett to contend with. Now, let us hear from Mr. Burnett.
So when were you told that she believed you potentially could be?
I've never heard of it until like about 2 years ago.
Really? So
Really?
You didn't talk to my mom when I was a kid?
Never talked to your mom about nothing
So
until
the
about
night-
2 years ago. I was told by a family member and
What were you told by this family member?
that she looks like my family.
Oh, that is heavy. Mr. Burnett says that is a complete lie, but Ms. Fuel insists that her mother cannot be lying, which is sort of weird because, let me tell you, Mrs. Fuel, if there is one thing that always happens in paternity court, it is lying. But Ms. Fuel has some more things to say.
So my mom never told me Walter was my father. She told me as an adult. She was embarrassed that he was my father. That's why she never came to me and said that. It was this other family member that told me that.
She's embarrassed. Her mom was the one is known as the neighborhood girl. Everybody slept with her mom.
Wow, that must be such a tough thing to hear about your mother. But we are getting somewhere. So Mr. Burnett slept with Ms. Fuel's mother, so there is at least a tiny chance that he could be her father, right? At least that was what Ms. Fuel heard from her mother. That is right. Everything she's saying here, she heard from her mother.
Who's giving you information?
As an adult, I asked my mom, be honest with me. She told me that there was another possibility.
Miss Fuel, have you attempted to have a father-daughter relationship at all? Have you tried to establish a relationship with Mr. Burnett?
Yes, I'm the one who reached out to him. He even said,
She attacked me on Facebook is what she did.
Okay, that may be true, but isn't it even worse that you're trying to get a deadbeat dad to acknowledge you? This is really so messy, and it is so bad that Ms. Fuel's mother is not here to shed light on the entire situation. Through all of this, Mr. Burnett insists that he has got nothing, but insists he cannot be her father.
She's been told. That's just like me saying that he's my uncle.
Well, I mean,
he's not.
But listen, but no one in your family, no one close to you, no one you love and trust that knows you and knows the other person has told you that news. It's different circumstance.
Okay.
I mean, really. I know this may be difficult for you to accept and difficult for you to take.
This has gone on long enough. It is time to say the truth and shame the devil. Who is really Miss Fuel's father? Mr. Burnett? Or was her mother just lying to her all this while? Let us listen to Judge Lauren read out the results.
Mr. Burnett, you are not her father.
Apologize, I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's okay. There's no apologies. It's all right.
But I will be. But it does bring closure, and I really apologize. I'm sorry to both of y'all.
Apology accepted.
Ms. Galloway and Mr. Harris are in the hot seat. Ms. Galloway claims that Mr. Harris is the father of her 9-month-old twins, Shakina and Malachi, but Mr. Harris is not convinced. He's denying everything.
Galloway, you say you became pregnant with your first child at 14 years old. And even with that young start, you maintain that all your children know and have been accepted by their fathers until now.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harris, you state that you're a family man who first became a father at the age of 12, going on 13. Although that child was yours, you're certain that Miss Galloway's twins are not.
That was a shocker. So these two met at church. And yes, you heard that right, church. Ms. Galloway was just 14 when she had her first child, and now she's back in the courtroom trying to figure out who the daddy is this time. Talk about a roller coaster of a life.
We ended up needing a ride home on a particular day, and the guy that I was dating called him up. And so he came and gave us a ride to my apartment complex. The guy that I knew, you walked down the street to, drop his kids off, and Mr. Harris here helped me to the door with my groceries. And he said, so when you gonna let me in the house?
Fast forward to a fateful night where Ms. Galloway and Mr. Harris find themselves in an abandoned van. Things escalate quickly, and before you know it, they're getting busy in the back seat. Oh, the scandal. But wait, it gets even juicier.
Okay,
That's not true.
Go past that part.
Okay, so we end up getting involved. We did get involved in that van the next morning because that night, I felt comfortable with it. I felt like it was okay or whatever.
You met him in church.
Yes.
And the next thing you know, you having sex with him in an abandoned van?
Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Harris claims it was only a quick 3 minutes, but Ms. Galloway begs to differ. She says it was a solid 45 minutes of passion. Who do you believe? I don't know about you, but I'll need to let this play out before picking a side.
Is when my cycle was supposed to show, and it didn't. And like it was.
Well, I guess it wouldn't. All this unprotected sex. Do you all understand when you don't use protection, you can get pregnant? You do understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
But you're still doing it?
Yes, ma'am.
So you come up pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you say? What do you tell him?
Okay, so January 18th is when I took the home pregnancy test. And that's when I sent him the text message and the pictures.
After their steamy van encounter, Ms. Galloway finds out she's pregnant with not one, but 2 babies. She rushes to the emergency room and the doctor confirms the news. 2 babies on the way. Can you imagine the shock on both their faces?
Mr. Harris, you're saying that Ms. Galloway also slept with some other musicians that played at the church with you?
Lonnie is a musician. He plays the keyboard.
And Lonnie is Mr. Samuel.
Right, Mr. Lonnie Samuel.
And he's here in court with us as well.
I'm so glad because Mr. Samuel Mr. Samuel, me and Mr. Samuel was cool until we fell out behind a woman.
Things just got a lot more interesting. Mr. Harris is adamant that he's not the father of these twins. He's out here claiming he's a family man and that these babies are not his. Ms. Galloway, on the other hand, is standing her ground, saying he's the daddy.
You have no doubt.
No doubt, not at all. Not at all, because during this time, like I said,
Did you sleep with Mr. Samuels too?
No.
That's a lie.
That is not a lie. That is not a lie.
You and Mr. Samuel slept together.
You
told me out your own mouth. Just like the boyfriend you had before you met me and had sex with me, you was
You
talking
are trying to throw up everything that you can.
It ain't no case. You only want child support.
That was revealing. We just learned more about their unconventional relationship, and everything kind of makes sense now. From church meetings to late-night rendezvous in vans, these two have quite the history, but that's not even half of it.
Intentionally left blank.
Right.
If
she had an option to put the name right there, and then Duval County would have contacted me and said, Mr. Harris, we need you to come do a DNA test for these children because you was listed
And
as
your
the father.
thinking is she did not put your name or list your name as father because...
She's not even sure if I'm the father.
DCF has been trying to get in contact with him.
Hold on, folks. There's a twist. Ms. Galloway reveals that there was another encounter with Mr. Harris, and this time it lasted a whopping 5 minutes. The scandalous details just keep on coming.
He's not doing enough for the kids. He's not trying to do nothing. And based on us, I went to the store and I got the Tylenol because the babies had a fever. I love kids. I got kids myself. I got 3. So basically, she called me and be like, oh, they're sick. I'm saying, can you help me out? Okay, if I got the money, yeah, I'll help you out.
With emotions running high and the truth hanging in the balance, the judge is finally ready to reveal the DNA test result. Will Mr. Harris step up and take responsibility for the twins? Or will Ms. Galloway have to face this journey alone?
Mr. Samuel, you are not the father. Mr. Harris, you are the twins' father. My research says that you're in fact the biological father.
If you thought that last case was crazy, you're probably not ready for this one. So, we've got Jordan here, who's brought her ex-boyfriend Mr. Rothwell to court to prove that he's the father of her 1-year-old daughter, Jade. She's tired of carrying the financial burden on her own and wants him to step up. But Mr. Rothwell, well...
Ms. Patterson, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Rothwell, that he is the father of your 1-year-old daughter, Jade.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claimed he abandoned you, stuck you with bills, and now your parents are forced to help you raise your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
But after today's DNA results, he will pay.
You're right.
Jordan spills the tea on their relationship. They met in high school, had an on-again, off-again thing. And surprise, surprise, he was a cheater. But when she found out she was pregnant, things took a turn. Mr. Rothwell went from, that's not my baby, to, I'll do what I have to do. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions.
Mr. Rothwell, you say Ms. Patterson has her parents fooled into believing she's not a cheater, and you refuse to be the fool for taking care of a child that's not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Patterson, does Mr. Rothwell have any reason to deny your daughter?
No, Your Honor, and today I will prove that he is the father. I'm tired of doing everything by myself. I had to rely on my parents to do everything.
That was spicy. So apparently Jordan's family took Mr. Rothwell in like one of their own. They clothed him, fed him, treated him like a son-in-law, and now they feel betrayed. Her dad is fuming, calling Mr. Rothwell a deadbeat and demanding he step up for his daughter. It's a family affair, folks.
My birthday, I did
didn't have my regular monthly. So we took a pregnancy test, and I could see in his eyes that he was scared. So he made up some excuse. When we came back from this trip, we got into a big argument. And, so I didn't see him until December. But all through this time, he telling me, that's not my baby.
It's not.
And then all of a sudden in December, you said, I'm going to step up and do what I have to do.
Mr. Rothwell, on the other hand, is sticking to his guns. He's adamant that Jade is not his child, despite the family resemblance that Jordan's parents are quick to point out. But hey, who needs DNA when you've got a grandpa's intuition, right?
They did take you in?
They did take me in, but that was their decision. I didn't go there and say, hey, can you take me in, crawl into their door.
When you say, hold on, when you say take you in, did you actually live with them, or meaning they accepted you?
He lived with us.
It was
he lived with us.
I didn't want him to.
We clothed him, we bathed him, fed him, treated him. My mom treated him like a son.
The courtroom is heating up as Jordan and Mr. Rothwell go back and forth, each sticking to their version of events. Jordan's determined to prove paternity, while Mr. Rothwell is standing his ground, refusing to accept responsibility for a child he claims is not his.
Baby, man, it's your baby. You just sad.
There's no comparison.
He's a sad person. He's sad. I can't call him Mr. Nothing.
There's no resemblance.
I can't even
She
say
looked just
Mr.
like him. That's his twin.
Look at her.
She looked
Look
just
at her.
like
She looked just like him, mouth and all.
She doesn't.
The only thing is different is she's brown skinned, and you are so stupid, man. You're losing a lot of great things in life.
It's becoming more and more clear that there's more to this story than meets the eye. High school sweethearts turned bitter enemies, family ties strained, and a baby caught in the middle. It's a crazy situation, and it's about to get crazier.
So I'm not the type of person just gonna let him be out in the street. I even gave him money to go get him the gas so he could find him a new job.
I didn't ask for
what I'm saying? I didn't ask for him.
But
He didn't ask me for it, and I didn't ask for it back. I told him, all I want you to do, all I want you to do is get a job and take care of your responsibility, man.
But wait, there's more drama to come. Jordan's parents are not holding back, letting Mr. Rothwell know exactly how they feel about him. They're not mincing words, and the courtroom is buzzing with tension. Will the truth finally come out, or will this case end in even more heartache and confusion?
I had to move back in with my parents because I can't raise my daughter by myself. But I feel like he cared more about that dang old truck that he got.
Yes, indeed.
More than my child.
What truck is this?
Look at this truck he has. Please, I got evidence.
Will you show me?
I mean, why does it matter?
Will you hand me that evidence?
It's not only your truck. Y'all went in half on that truck, and the repo man gonna come get it if you don't step up.
It was my money.
The DNA test results are about to be revealed, and the tension in the courtroom is at its peak. Will Mr. Rothwell be proven to be Jade's father, or will Jordan's hopes be dashed once again? The stakes are high, the emotions are raw, and the truth is finally within reach.
Mr. Rothwell, you are the father.
I told you.
Stupid.
I told you. You owe my child an apology, and you owe my family an apology for putting us through this.
Mr. Rothwell, do you now understand the responsibility you have to this child?
Mr. Jungvirt and Miss Sandknop are the classic definition of calm before the storm. They were high school sweethearts, started a family, and were all set to tie the knot. But hold on to your hats, because things took a sharp turn.
Mr. Jungvirt, you claim the defendant's infidelities not only caused you to cancel your wedding, but also now to doubt paternity of her 2-year-old daughter, Peyton. You're demanding a paternity test to prove you are not father. Miss Sandknop, you thought you were doing the right thing by being honest with Mr. Jungvirt.
So Miss Sandknop dropped a bombshell on Mr. Jungvirt about a drunken one-night stand that left him questioning the paternity of their daughter. Pate, talk about a plot twist. Mr. Jungvirt was over the moon when he found out he was going to be a dad. He even proposed within minutes of hearing the news. Now that's what I call a whirlwind romance.
Came clean about it. I mean, if he's still having trust issues, then what are we doing here? Why are we still together? He forgave me for it.
He says he's unable to move forward with the wedding until he knows for sure.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that hurts you as well?
Yes.
Because you feel like you were honest?
Yes, Your Honor. And I feel like if I was honest with him about that one time, then why would I still lie?
But then things went south when Miss Sandknop confessed to a night of heavy drinking that ended in a mysterious bed with no memory of what went down. Miss Sandknop was left scrambling for answers, and Mr. Jungvirt was left like this.
He didn't believe it was the truth.
So you were very happy?
Oh yeah, extremely.
I can see the emotion right now. Even when you think about it.
I was beside myself,
couldn't say we were ready, but
we got ready fast.
We were ready.
You found out you were having a baby.
Yeah, I made her dinner. I was excited.
The tension in the courtroom was palpable as Miss Sandknop tried to piece together the events of that fateful night. But with no memory of what happened, it was like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces.
To have sex with another guy, I went out to just relax, take a breath, and just recollect my thoughts and let him have some time to breathe.
She can't explain to me. You know, I want details. Every man wants details. Every man wants to know who did it, who it was, when it happened, why they do it.
And that's what I'm confused about. I can only, from that night, the only thing I can remember is taking a couple sips of my first drink.
Mr. Jungvirt was understandably shaken by the revelation, questioning everything he thought he knew about their relationship. Trust was shattered, and the future of their family hung in the balance.
I'm like in the garbage can and trying to see if I could find a condom or a condom wrapper, but I didn't find either.
Where was this person when you
asleep
woke
in his
up?
bed, and I woke up, I gathered my things, and I left. I didn't stick around to see what would happen.
When you woke up, did you have your clothes on?
Partially.
At one point, Mr. Jungvirt, did you find out about this night?
I told him 2 months after I found out I was pregnant.
Damn! It's heartbreaking to see a love story unravel like this, folks. The stakes are high, emotions are running wild, and the truth is hanging by a thread. Miss Sandknop's honesty, while commendable, has thrown their once solid foundation into chaos. Can they rebuild, or is this the end of the road for their relationship?
About what I did, instead of hiding it from you and going behind my back to one of my really good girlfriends, texting her, telling her to text me so you guys can see each other.
I know, but I
Wait a minute. And you want to say that what I did was wrong, what you did was wrong too? No, you may have never gotten together with her?
The DNA test results are in, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Will the truth set them free, or will it tear them apart? Let's find out.
Mr. Jungvirt, you are the father.
Will you marry me?
Yes.
Again.
That's what this courtroom is about, bringing families together. And it's nice to see you all on the same side of the aisle.
We can move forward now.
Mr. Montgomery here is convinced that he's the father of little Timothy. He even signed the birth certificate and everything. But hold up, Miss Parker is saying, not so fast. She's claiming that her fiancé, Mr. Lanou, is actually the baby daddy.
Mr. Montgomery, you say Miss Parker led you to believe that you fathered her 3-month-old son, Timothy Montgomery. You say you were present at the birth, named the baby, signed the birth certificate, but now Miss Parker says you're not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that, in fact, you are Timothy's father.
Now, Mr. Montgomery is laying it all out there, pouring his heart out about how he was there for Miss Parker throughout the pregnancy, signing the birth certificate, and basically being a stand-up guy. He's all in, folks. He's even talking about how the baby is named after his deceased father.
You to remove his name from your son's birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Montgomery, why do you think you're Timothy's father?
Well, Your Honor, I believe I'm the father because, you know, I loved her. You know, me and her were together. We were sexually active, you know, and without a shadow of a doubt, you know, I just believe, you know, firmly that this is my son.
But Miss Parker is not backing down. She's standing firm in her belief that Mr. Lanou is the real father of little Timothy. She's talking about how the baby looked like Mr. Montgomery during ultrasounds. But hey, looks can be deceiving, right? She's ready to get that DNA test to set the record straight once and for all.
You know, she allowed me to sit there and sign the birth certificate, and what the funny part is, she allowed me to name this son after my deceased father.
Miss Parker, why would you allow him to do all of these things? Sign the birth certificate at that time, did you, or did you not believe he was Timothy's
I thought he was the father.
Now, things start to get messy when we find out that Miss Parker was actually in a relationship with both Mr. Montgomery and Mr. Lanou at the same time. Yikes! She's spilling the tea about how Mr. Montgomery was always on Xbox and not giving her the attention she needed. And then there's Mr. Lanou, who she left everything behind for.
But I had one of those, and I know what you're saying when you look at the baby and you pick out features and you say, so I can understand why you could say to yourself, oh, I think he kind of resembles, but there's no way that if you were sleeping with another man during the window of conception, Miss Parker, you could say, or you could rule out Mr. Lanou.
That was vicious. Mr. Montgomery isn't holding back either. He's calling out Miss Parker for sleeping with both men and trying to play them against each other. He's not here for the drama, folks. He's here for the truth, and he's not afraid to speak his mind and defend his claim to fatherhood.
Talk to me about how you were in a relationship with 2 different men.
I was with Mark, and he was always on Xbox. He wouldn't even have sex with me during the whole pregnancy because he felt weird.
So you're in a relationship, you're not happy. You feel like he's paying more attention to
me and her first met, it wasn't even like that. He wasn't even in the picture from what I've said.
You are
He done left.
He pried on my girlfriend when I was
one at a time.
The tension is rising in the courtroom as Miss Parker and Mr. Montgomery go back and forth about who the real father is. There's accusations flying left and right, emotions running high, and Jerome, the bailiff, is probably regretting signing up for this case. Oh, and things are only getting louder.
Who Timothy's father is. And what we're trying to do is figure out how we arrived at this point.
Youngin, this is a grown folks talk right here.
Yeah.
I think honestly you're more mature than Luke.
Jerome, do me a favor, please stand in between.
I have a job.
Where's all this money going?
It's going to him.
No, it's
going
not.
to him. Trust and believe, my son will have what he needs.
And just when you think things couldn't get any crazier, Miss Parker drops a bombshell. She reveals that she told Mr. Montgomery about her relationship with Mr. Lanu, and he didn't take it too well. There's talk of square-ups and confrontations, and it's getting heated in the courtroom.
He named the baby after his father. I mean, he's doing the most.
I actually was going to show up to the hospital, but out of respect for her and that unborn child, refused to because I know that it would have caused a disturbance between me and him.
Oh,
you know, I had
you had to just endure this. You knew that you had been sleeping with her.
A man always has.
But wait, there's more. Mr. Montgomery shares a touching moment about holding little Timothy for the first time and how much the baby means to him. He's pouring his heart out, showing his vulnerable side, and it's hard not to feel for the guy. He just wants to be a dad, folks. Is that too much to ask?
I can sit there and try, but I mean, if it's not being returned, then what's the purpose to sit there and keep trying to make someone love you that obviously doesn't?
Your Honor,
and while I agree with that, when you believe you have a child or either a young, innocent life that could potentially be your child, just because you leave the woman doesn't mean you leave the child.
Oh, no.
As the case unfolds, we're left wondering who the real father of little Timothy is. Will the DNA test reveal the truth, or will this love triangle continue to spiral out of control?
Mr. Montgomery, you are not the father. Mr. Lanu, you are the father.
In my eyes, that's still my son.
Miss Parker, how do you feel right now?
I'm happy. Mr. Lanu is the father of my son Timothy because he's more involved with Timothy.
Mr. Holland is here demanding a DNA test because he believes he is not the father of Ms. Anderson's 17-month-old daughter, Chloe. The tension is already high as Mr. Holland claims he's been paying child support for a child he's not even sure is his.
Mr. Holland, you are demanding a DNA test today because you say you are not the father of Ms. Anderson's 17-month-old daughter, Chloe.
Yes,
you claim to be paying support for a child. It's not yours.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Anderson, you say Mr. Holland needs to step up and take responsibility for his actions and his child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Anderson insists that Mr. Holland needs to step up and take responsibility for his actions and his child. The judge wastes no time getting to the bottom of things. She questions Mr. Holland about why he failed to show up for the DNA test multiple times.
And he never went to court to take the DNA test. 4 times. He failed to appear 4 times.
Your Honor, that's
4
not right.
times you failed to appear?
No, what happened was my mother had two brain aneurysms. That's the reason why I failed to appear. You see what I'm saying?
Your Honor, the first time he failed to appear, he said he was out of town. The second time, he said he overslept. The third time, his mom was in the hospital. And the fourth time, he overslept and his mom was in the hospital.
His excuses range from his mother's health issues to oversleeping. It's like a laundry list of reasons why he couldn't make it to court. But Ms. Anderson isn't buying it, and she's not afraid to call him out on his no-shows.
She'll pay child support in the amount of $62 monthly for 1 child.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you have to pay health care expenses. So the bottom line is you were ordered to pay child support and you've been paying it.
Yes, ma'am.
No, Your Honor. I received $100 from Mr. Holland.
No, she lying. I didn't pay $400. They take money out my check.
So apparently Mr. Holland and Ms. Anderson were once in a relationship, but things took a turn when another woman claimed she was pregnant by Mr. Holland. The drama doesn't stop there, folks. Ms. Anderson reveals that Mr. Holland joked about not wanting either of them if he couldn't have both.
We were on the 3-way with a girl. He didn't know that I was on the phone, and he basically said if he couldn't have both of us, he didn't want neither of us.
That is not how it went.
He thought it was all a joke, as if, I wasn't gonna take it serious.
So you continued the relationship?
Yeah, we continued the relationship. I had a friend who was going out of town. He said, could I go with him and his mother and his daughter?
The plot thickens when Ms. Anderson decides to go out of town with a male friend. Despite Mr. Holland's objections, he gives her an ultimatum, but she chooses to go anyway. The tension between them is palpable, and you can cut it with a knife.
The things that has happened since she was born, stuff that's been said, I never thought that me and Mr. Holland would be like this today.
Your Honor,
so
we was cool, we was in a relationship, everything was good. When she chose to do the wrong thing, you see what I'm saying? We had already talked. I said, no, I don't want you to go.
Your Honor, I went out of town.
You must have didn't care that much, you know?
I dealt with the fact that the girl...
Mr. Holland expresses his doubts about Chloe's paternity, citing the lack of honesty in their relationship. He feels betrayed and hurt by Ms. Anderson's actions. On the other hand, Ms. Anderson defends her choices, claiming that she made a mistake and should be forgiven. The courtroom is divided, and the judge has her work cut out for her.
She had a baby.
That she had a baby or that she was pregnant?
Yeah. She had a baby, not pregnant. A pregnancy I didn't never know about.
Wait a minute, so from the point she went out of town with the friend until she actually gave birth to the child, you had no idea she was even pregnant?
No idea.
Your Honor, how is that the case? Because I had no idea I was pregnant until the day I had her.
The tension reaches its peak as both parties stand their ground, each adamant about their version of events. It's a classic case of he said, she said, and the judge is left to unravel the truth. The drama is at an all-time high, and we can't look away.
Hollins never responded. I then talked to my best friend, and I told her that I wanted to tell him about Chloe. So she called Mr. Hollins. We put Mr. Hollins on a three-way, and I told him about the baby, and I asked him, did he want a DNA test?
Your Honor.
Because me and Mr. Hollins had not seen each other in over 6 months.
The judge prepares to reveal the results of the DNA test. The anticipation in the courtroom is palpable, and everyone is on the edge of their seats. Will Mr. Hollins be proven to be Chloe's father, or will the truth be something no one saw coming?
Mr. Williams, you are not the father. Mr. Hollins, you are her father.
Thank you.
I just feel like if she would have kept it 100 with me from the beginning and told me everything, you know, I could have been there. I could at least help.
I hope you understand what happened here. It can repeat itself.
Paternity court. The list of wild things that happen is unending. Believe me, in this situation, Ms. Greenhouse dragged Mr. Thompson's ass to court because he abandoned her child and refused to take the responsibilities of being a father, all because she called off their wedding a month before. She opened her case like this.
Ms. Greenhouse, you summoned Mr. Thompson to court for a DNA test for your 7-month-old son, G.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim he has neglected his responsibilities as a father since you called off the wedding last month.
Yes, Your Honor.
Additionally, you are also suing Mr. Thompson for $750, the amount of the down payment you put on a vehicle for him.
Yes, Your Honor.
They dated for 11 years, and she just called the wedding out of the blue? Something smells very fishy. Mr. Thompson claimed that 8 years out of the 11 years, he was the one trying to keep their relationship together. He claimed the major issue with their relationship was Ms. Greenhouse's family.
When it's always fell apart because
how? You're always accusing me of sleeping with somebody.
Her family and all the rest.
You're not in a relationship with my family. You're in a relationship with me.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
But why do they always come up?
So how do your mama, this one and the other sister, how everybody think they got more authority over me and mom?
Oh, wow. From Baby Daddy's point of view, Ms. Greenhouse had been sleeping with more than one man around the time she got pregnant with their child. That wasn't the only truth bomb that came out of Baby Daddy's mouth. He claimed during one of their arguments, he confronted her, and she admitted to cheating on him.
Like I said, around that time, we wasn't together. We was seeing each other a little cordially here and there, but not really.
But
I guess it was maybe it was around, can't remember exactly the time it was around, but when I came and everything happened, even with leading up to that time, I'd already confronted her and she admitted out her own mouth, out of the pictures, the texts, the phones, the messages, everything.
Get out of the way, Jerome. Baby mama has one hell of a temper. Moving on, Judge Lauren asked Baby Daddy what he meant by trying to keep the relationship together. He claimed that Ms. Greenhouse never really wanted to be with him. And anytime he tried to bring them back together, she said it was because of the first child they had together.
And she used to say it then, you only with me, or you only try to keep this together because of SJ, which is my first boy. And
that's a lie. That's a lie.
Man, look at here. Like I said,
we was only together because of SJ.
This is what you told me multiple times. You don't really want to be with me, Greg. You only with me because of SJ.
Sounds like a lot has been going on in their relationship. Baby Daddy, on the other hand, wasn't done dropping truth bombs. When the case initially started, he claimed her family was one of the major reasons they had issues in their relationship. Well, he decided to dive into that, and here's how he explained that to the judge.
When we in the dirt and we struggling, we come up on a little here and there. She giving money to her mom, and everybody else.
But when we in the dirt, my mama give me money. My sister give me money.
We don't have it.
But you give your mama money, your sister brother money.
I'm here about the baby, man.
Your Honor. Yes, Miss Thompson.
Greg doesn't give me money.
If anything, when they fall on hard times, I help y'all with rent.
She definitely stepped on Mr. Thompson's mother's toes because she is furious as hell. She was furious because she was always there trying to help her son and Ms. Greenhouse when they had nothing, and Ms. Greenhouse was trying to deny that ever happening. But baby mama didn't care about any of that.
If you had doubt, you should have brought that not 7 months later when my son is 7 months old. Don't bring doubt 7 months later. You signed his birth certificate. Matter of fact, Your Honor, when we was in the hospital, Greg asked me about his, can I approach that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, can I go show you this? When I was giving birth to my son in the hospital, Greg came to me and said, what name do you want? Do you want G-E-E, G-I-E, or G-E-I? And I said G-E-I, and that's my son's name. My son is G. Rakeem.
Can they stop arguing already? It's starting to get out of hand. Now, Ms. Greenhouse claimed that when the doubts were starting to get out of hand, she offered to get a DNA test done for the child, but Mr. Thompson turned her down. So she decided to bring up her witness, who could testify to him denying the DNA test. Here's what the witness had to say.
When it came up to them going to the hospital to have G, Chrissy was talking to Greg or whatever. She was like, hey, make sure, right before they brought in the paperwork, the affidavit stuff. She was like, are you sure you want to do that? We can get a DNA test. Greg said, man, shut up. Like, he was excited. Like, man, shut up. For what? That's exactly what he said.
And you heard that.
I was on the phone with her.
Their situation keeps going from bad to worse. Now, baby daddy's mother was keeping it real in the courtroom. She said that she was fed up with their back and forth of always having to fight about the paternity of the child. All she wanted was for them to figure things out and do what's best for the baby.
G does look exactly like Chrissy. He does.
And SJ.
This boy has an extra large head. His daddy do, his brothers do. He don't have it. And that might sound a little crazy, a little harsh, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just being honest. And far as him not taking care of his child, Greg is a darn good dad. He really, be quiet. He really is.
At this point, Judge Lauren was already tired of trying to get them to act right. The only thing that could calm their nerves now is the DNA result. With all being said, the results are finally ready to be revealed, and the truth will finally be out in the open.
Mr. Thompson, you are the father. You are the father.
I feel more relief.
For what? And you knew this from jump?
I did.
You knew this from jump?
You knew I had doubts from jump.
You could see it in his eyes, trust me. Mr. Carroll wanted nothing more for the child to be his. He was in court to prove to his ex-girlfriend that he was the biological father of her 26-year-old daughter. Even though the defendant denied his claims several times, he just refused to accept that he wasn't the father. It all started like this.
Mr. Carroll, you are here to prove to your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Goggins, that you are the biological father of her 26-year-old daughter, Shirletha Carroll.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say when your daughter was 5 years old, the defendant told you another man was her father, but you refused to believe it.
Yes, Your Honor.
You saw it for yourself. He wants her to be his daughter so bad. Throughout the years, Mr. Carroll never had any doubts about being her father, even when the defendant told him several times that he wasn't the father. But Ms. Goggins claims she had a one-night stand, and she believes that he is the father of her daughter.
This one-night stand is your daughter's father. Why are you so certain?
With Jesse, we were basically broken up, and then I end up going to her father saying that I needed someone to talk to, so me and him end up having sex, and I knew that it was
the one-night stand.
The hairdresser.
If he was hoping to convince Ms. Goggins about being the father, he definitely failed at that. Her mind was fixed on the fact that he was not and could not be the father of her child. Mr. Carroll recalled their relationship being shaky at the time, and throughout their time together, Ms. Goggins never told him she wasn't his child.
First of all, me and Tina at that time was still in a relationship. It was just shaky. Lily was 5 years old, and she came over my mother's house, and she told me that she had something to tell me. And then she told Lily would go off, she's 5, so she's trying to go off or whatever. She's like, no, Lily, I want Lily to hear this, you know. When she told me Lily was not my daughter, Lily was standing right there because I will never forget the face that she had.
Moving on, Ms. Goggins remembered the period when she gave birth to her daughter. Mr. Carroll was in the hospital, and he cut the cord. But the moment he saw the baby, he asked Ms. Goggins whose child it was because she was too light-skinned. From that moment on, Ms. Goggins decided that the baby could not be his.
Delivery room with me, you seen her
and you said, wow, whose baby is this? She's so white. I knew from there that who Shalitha belonged to.
No.
After I left the hospital with Shalitha, I said, Shalitha is not your child. You never wanted to listen to me saying that it wasn't your child.
Wow. He signed his name on the birth certificate without her knowing? How desperately does he want to be the baby's father? Anyway, Ms. Goggins told the judge that on so many occasions, she told him that the baby was not his, but he just wouldn't listen. He even gave the child his own nickname.
My daughter, that's why I'm here today, to show people that Lily is.
She doesn't look like you. She looks just like her dad.
Look, she got my name on that birth certificate. That's my name. She got my name.
You put it on there without my consent.
I gave Lily that name, Lily. That nickname, I done that. Lily, that's my nickname. That Shalitha is my family. That's her name from my family.
The back and forth between Mr. Carroll and Ms. Goggins was getting too much, so the judge decided to ask the daughter in question if she had ever felt the presence of Mr. Carroll in her childhood. Here's the reply she gave to the judge.
Your Honor, yes, I have, but to be honest, Jesse hasn't been in my life. You know, I'm just going off of pictures. You know, basically, pictures, he was there. He was with me as the father, with me and my sister. He was in the home as a family. But as time went on, I was with the guy, which I have proof right here. I was with his family.
You do? Let me see that proof you have.
I was with his family.
Well, that complicates the whole situation. At least she told the truth. Ms. Goggins wasn't the only one who believed that he wasn't the father. Mr. Carroll's wife also believed that her husband was not the biological father, and she couldn't understand why he couldn't let go.
Your Honor, Shalitha is not his daughter. Tina told him, Ms. Goggins told him, she told him years ago that she was not his daughter. And the only way I would know, because I came into the situation after the 5-year period, somewhere in there, which was, I never would say anything like that.
Now that's one plot twist I didn't see coming. If he isn't the father of your child, why send him a letter thanking him for accepting the child? Something doesn't sound right. Anyways, Judge Lake heard enough of their testimony, so she determined that DNA was vehement in this paternity conflict. Here are the results.
Mr. Carroll, you are her father.
Now I can promise you this is a case you will never forget. After taking care of the defendant's 6 kids and not being the father of any, he is in court to prove that the defendant is trying to pin her 3-month-old child on him. He was sick of the defendant playing for a fool and was no longer willing to be there for her. It all started like this.
Mr. Jones, you and your mother are co-plaintiffs who have brought the defendant, Ms. Milan, to court to prove her 3-month-old son, Quanil Jr., is not your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Your Honor, I contacted the court 3 days after the baby was born because I watched my son break down at the hospital. You know, he was going to be devastated if this child wasn't his.
Their relationship started from being neighbors. They lived very close to each other, and it was very easy for them to see almost all the time. And just like that, from coming over to see a movie, they started kicking it in bed, and it went on for a really long time.
And so how did you two meet?
Her mother and my mother was neighbors. When she moved back home with her mom used to talk to her about me or whatever like that.
And then how'd this relationship begin?
When I first, moved home with my mom, I noticed him. She was like, this Mr. Jones, he lived next door. We started, just on a friendly note.
Looks like things really got cozy for both of them, but they weren't particularly on the same page about everything. Mr. Jones didn't see what they had as a relationship. He was basically enjoying the company of his neighbor, but baby mama, on the other hand, felt they had something special.
But eventually I seen how I was feeling about Mr. Jones. Even after we had sex or whatever, he was looking at it as a friendship. But my thing was, I don't have sex with my friends. I thought it was more once I did cut my ex off, so.
Baby mama sure sounds like she wasn't expecting to get pregnant. Now, along the line, baby mama lost her house, and she had nowhere to go. Mr. Jones's mom thought they were dating, and she offered to have baby mama and her kids stay with her.
It was at a point where they had got to the point where they were serious to the point enough for her and her kids didn't have anywhere to go. So I offered for her and her kids to come to my house. That's how I thought that they were in a relationship with.
So you thought they were in a relationship?
Yes.
Because when she and her children didn't have anywhere to go, you said they could come and stay with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh well, it doesn't look like Mr. Jones's mother wanted to be an accommodating landlord for a long time, and she made it quite clear. Anyway, Mr. Jones and baby mama's relationship started to fall apart, and somehow, Mr. Jones found himself in the company of his ex. Here's the explanation he gave as to why that happened.
Mr. Jones, you took your one girlfriend and her kids,
moved him into your mother's house, and then went with your ex.
Yes, pretty much. That's what
Yes,
he did.
Your Honor. Like you said, I'm young. It's a big age difference. I started getting a little, I got a little, stressed out. You know what I'm saying? It's 6 kids, all boys, plus my mom, my two little sisters.
She definitely ran out of patience. All right, now, baby mama found she was pregnant, and of course, she reached out to Mr. Jones. But here's the thing, when she told him about the pregnancy, she also dropped a truth bomb, saying that she was intimate with her ex, and there was a chance the baby could also be his.
And so how did you find out she was pregnant?
She called and told me. I was with my ex. She called and
Is
told
it
me.
still your ex when you back with her?
I'm gonna tell you.
She's still my ex. We wasn't together. When I was with my ex, we wasn't together. It just we had a long relationship.
We can't deny the fact that Mr. Jones is a good father. He might have been messing around with his ex, but he sure knows how to be a good dad. Baby mama then went on to say that she actually told her ex she was pregnant before she told Mr. Jones. She went about it like this.
The ex that he potentially could be the father to?
I told him first. You know, I was around him at the time. I was feeling sick, and I was like, I knew I hadn't been out there that long also. But I did go to the store and get a pregnancy test, and it came out positive. I ended up telling Mr. Jones also. And, he did his talking or whatever, but he ended up texting and was like, okay.
Mr. Jones is one lucky man to have a mom like his who is constantly looking out for him. Mr. Jones and his mother were hoping that the DNA results would reveal that Mr. Jones was the father of the child. If it were revealed otherwise, they would be completely heartbroken.
So, what are your hopes, Mr. Jones and Miss Jones? Do you hope the child is yours?
Yes.
I pray
We've been taking care of this child since the day he came out, Joe.
I love him.
And I will continue to do that. I just want my son to be sure that this is his child.
Isn't he just a sweet man? The only way to determine the truth about the baby was to uncover the secret DNA envelope was holding. So, let's get those results.
Mr. Jones, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah,
You okay, Mr. Jones?
Ms. Seaton dragged her mother to court because she believed her mother committed paternity fraud. Apparently, there was no trust between Ms. Seaton and her mother, and she was desperate to know who her real father was. Are you ready? I bet you are. Let's get on with it.
Miss Seaton, you've brought your mother to court because you claim she committed paternity fraud and lied to you about the identity of your biological father. You were raised believing one man was your father, but are here to prove another is your dad. You've petitioned the court for a paternity test to finally prove the truth. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
It felt like Ms. Seaton and Ms. McPeak, who happened to be her mother, shared almost no love at all. Ms. Seaton claimed she had not seen her mother in almost 5 years. Damn, that's a really long time to go without seeing your mother. Trust me. She even called her a lair.
Miss Seaton, how did we get to this point?
Well, Your Honor, I just want to start by saying I haven't seen her talk to this woman in 5 years, almost 5 years. The reason that I haven't seen her talk to her in almost 5 years is because she's a liar. I was raised to think that a man named Jesse Seaton was my biological father.
You could see the tension between the two ladies in the courtroom. Being that they haven't had any relationships in over 5 years, they couldn't even maintain eye contact with each other. Trust me, that's just really sad. I wouldn't want to be in those shoes.
Why do you look like she's not telling the truth, Miss McPeak?
It's untrue.
How do you respond?
Because she's a liar. She always has been. She does whatever she can to hurt anybody. She doesn't have a heart at all.
But is she lying about the hospital saying there's not a match?
Yes, she is. Liar.
Your Honor, I would just like to say my grandmother did submit a statement if you would like to look over that.
Ms. McPeak wasn't having any of that. She stood her ground and said everything her daughter was saying was all in her head and there was no truth to it. She hit the nail on the head and called her a big-ass liar. Damn!
She's just as big a liar as her granddaughter. Plain and simple. She never thought that I was good enough for her son. He could have had DNA at that time, and he didn't want DNA. He said he was 100% sure it was his.
Now, Ms. Seaton was just talking out in the wind. She was firm. She listed instances that made everyone doubt if her mother was actually telling the truth. Trust me, you wouldn't believe the things that were said in that courtroom. They were mind-blowing.
however, had told me on more than one occasion that she had DNA done between me and Mr. Seaton. She also told my grandmother, Karen, and when asked about the result, I contacted our local DNA centers and did some research, and they have no DNA.
Oh, come on! What exactly are Ms. Seaton and Ms. McPeak playing at? What exactly is their aim here? They're just going round in circles, calling each other layers. At this point, it's really hard to believe who might be telling the truth.
How close in proximity were you intimate with both of these men, or is it your assertion you weren't intimate with both of these men?
I lived with Greg Bryson at the time. I met Jesse and we were friends, and we just started going out as friends, and it was very close in time because I had to go home and throw Greg out, and he moved right across the street from me.
Now Mr. Bryson walks into the courtroom and he believes he is really Ms. Seaton's father. He doesn't just believe he is her father. He has some really powerful statements to back up his claim. Oh boy, this was one hell of a paternity case.
Do you believe you are Miss Seaton's, Jessica's biological father?
Yes, I can guarantee you, Your Honor.
You do?
Oh, yes.
Why do you believe that?
Look at her. She looks like my other daughter. I guarantee you the money I got in my pocket, she's mine. Secondly, the grandmother, Jesse's mother, told me she's between the ages of 6 and 10, that she knew that that was my daughter, not her son.
The moment of truth was finally here, but the air was thick with uncertainty as to whether their stories and claims were true or not. Time to see what the future holds for them. I hope you guys are ready.
The biological father is Mr.
Thank you.
Where was you all your life?
You lie. I never once.
Okay. Just hug your daughter. You can stay with
Why
your daughter.
did you lie?
So, Ms. Lindsay is in a bit of a pickle. She's here because she believes that Mr. Dannenbrink, a family friend, is actually her biological father. She's been living with the uncertainty of not knowing her true father for years, and today she's about to get some answers.
You know about the pregnancy?
She never told me that she was pregnant. She never told me I even had a child.
I had no reason to tell him because he's not the father.
I said, 35 years I have walked through this life wondering who I am. And would you have been proud of me? Why was I not good enough?
I still stand firm that Mr. Dannenbrink is not her dad.
Don't think she is my daughter, but hoping she is.
Wow, so Mr. Dannenbrink just admitted to having a fling with Ms. Lindsay's mother back in the day, but he's adamant that there's no way he could be her father. Jeez, let's see how he wriggles himself out of this.
Mr. Dannenbrink.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit to having a sexual relationship with Ms. Lindsay's mother, but say there is no way you're her biological father.
That's right, Your Honor. I met her, and we just had like a hit-and-run situation. She disappeared on me, and then we got back together again, and a couple of days later, she went her way, and it just kept on for years that way. And there's no way she could be my daughter.
What a bombshell by Ms. Lindsay. She just revealed that everyone in town, including Mr. Dannenbrink's family, believes he's her father. Can you imagine the gossip going around town? But hold on, it gets even juicier.
My house and accused me of being the child that they had together. And when I had asked my mother about that, she told me no, that it wasn't true.
You were 16?
Yes.
And an ex of Mr. Dannenbrink's comes to your house?
Yes.
And says, you're the child that your mother had with Mr. Dannenbrink?
Yes, Your Honor.
In other words, the ex thinks you're the child that came in between her and Mr. Dannenbrink?
Yes, Your Honor.
So when Ms. Lindsay was just 16, an ex of Mr. Dannenbrink showed up at her doorstep claiming she was their love child. Ms. Lindsay confronts her mother about this revelation, only to be told that Mr. Dannenbrink is not her father. Talk about a family secret that's been buried for years. Everyone is speechless, but not for long.
And so I just left it alone, and then my mother and him had started talking again, and we became more close, I guess you would say. We lived right next door to each other, and we started having barbecues together and spent a few holidays together and things like that.
The man next door, your neighbor?
Yes.
You believe he's your biological father?
Yes.
But you've never said anything to him?
Not really.
Fast forward a few years and Ms. Lindsay and Mr. Dannenbrink reconnect at church. They start hanging out, having BBQs together, and even spending holidays as a pseudo-family. It's like a modern-day blended family situation, but with a twist of paternity uncertainty.
This calendar shows, for one, the day that I was born, and if you count back, if I was born full term, the conception would be between May and June. And the doctors did say that I was born a month premature, which puts my due date at March 11th, which my mother would be right at that time. However, I had no health problems when I was born. I was born at a normal weight.
Whoa, this is getting interesting. Ms. Lindsay presents a calendar outlining the possible dates of conception. conception. And surprise, surprise, it aligns with the time she was born. The evidence is stacking up, and the tension is rising.
So you all just were kind of sex partners?
Yes.
Just
correct, Your Honor.
Whatever.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't know, what's the word? Friends with benefits.
Friends with benefits.
But were y'all
Yes.
friends? I don't even get the friend part here.
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Bump and go.
Bump and go.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerome.
That's not surprising. Mr. Dannenbrink seems unsure about the dates on the calendar, citing the chaotic nature of the past. It's like a puzzle that's missing a few pieces, and we're all trying to put it together to reveal the big picture. Maybe Mr. Dannenbrink can help us out.
So, Ms. Lindsay, your mother's saying that Mr. Dannenbrink is not your biological father.
Right.
What leads you to not believe your mother?
The doctors did say that I was born a month early, but they also said that I was gonna be a boy the entire time she was pregnant with me. So they could have been wrong. Second thing, my mom does admit to having a child with Mr. Dannenbrink.
As the tension rises, Mr. Dannenbrink drops a bombshell of his own by admitting to a tumultuous past filled with drugs and hectic moments. It's a confession that adds another layer of complexity to the case.
And was that Mr. Dannenbrink's child?
Yes, Your Honor.
She never said nothing to me about that.
No, I admit that I did not.
You never mentioned it to him?
No.
Miss Lindsay, I'm looking at your face. It doesn't seem like you're believing a lot of your mother's testimony.
I don't.
Why?
She says that she had this child. I've never seen the papers, although I've asked a few times. And on top of that one, I've went to the public records place. There's no proof of her birth or death.
The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as the truth hangs in the balance. Will Ms. Lindsay finally get the answer she's been searching for all these years? The DNA results are in, and we're about to learn the truth.
Mr. Dannenbrink, you are not her father.
It doesn't matter. I consider her my daughter.
How are you feeling, Miss Lindsay? I know this was difficult for you.
Confused, but I'm happy at the same time.
Ms. Rogers here reconnected with her elementary school sweetheart, Mr. Stone, after years apart, and we all know how that goes. They started hanging out, reminiscing about old times, and things quickly escalated to a steamy affair. But hold on, there's a twist. Mr. Stone conveniently forgets to mention one huge detail.
Were you sleeping with anyone else?
I was not with nobody when I was with him.
You told me yourself that you would have an encounter before we even had the first encounter.
There was no benefits with no other friends until after I stopped talking to him.
It's as if you all were in two different galaxies and somehow ended up with a potential child. I don't think they agreed on anything but the threesome.
The man has a girlfriend. Ms. Rogers spills the tea, revealing that she and Mr. Stone had unprotected sex. Not just once, but multiple times. And get this, there was even a scandalous threesome involved. Yep, you heard that right, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Possible you are the father of her baby, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Rogers, you say there's no doubt Mr. Stone is Christian's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
I met him in elementary school. We was friends. I kind of moved away after a while. We was close friends, but you know, we never kept in touch because we were so young. And one day, after so many years of being apart, I was at my friend's house, or I was at her boyfriend's house, and we were...
Mr. Stone tries to throw shade at Ms. Rogers, claiming she was involved with one of his friends. Ms. Rogers claps back, denying the accusations and standing her ground. The tension is palpable as these former friends turned foes go head to head, each trying to prove their side of the story.
She was at one of my friends' house, and when I walked in, she was already hugged up with one of my friends.
I was not hooked up with nobody. When he walked in the door, I was sitting at the table.
On his lap.
I was not on nobody's lap. When he came in the door, I was sitting at the table. The friend that he was talking about was in the kitchen. I was not sitting on nobody's lap.
Your Honor, when I walked in, we caught eyes. She was on his lap, and
I was not
like
on
I
his
said,
lap.
we ended up talking.
He can make you believe I was not.
One at a time.
So Mr. Stone had been keeping secrets about his relationship status. Shocker. Ms. Rogers is left shocked and betrayed, realizing that she had been played. The audience gasps as the truth comes to light. The case just got messier, and the stakes got higher.
So you didn't use protection in a threesome with Ms. Rogers and another...
The other girl was my girlfriend.
That he did not tell me about until that night. He did not tell me that this girl was his girlfriend. Yes, he said that he was talking to a girl before, but he told me that right then he was single. I would not have kept sleeping with him if I knew that he was in a relationship.
The tension reaches its peak as Ms. Rogers and Mr. Stone continue to trade accusations and denials. It's a he said, she said situation that could go on forever.
At the hospital,
hospital, and you don't know why.
Yeah, I wasn't driving. I was in the passenger seat. My friend came to me. We were chilling, talking, and then he said he had to go pick them up and drop them off. So
he knew
I
we was
rode
going
with
to
him.
ultrasound. He saw the ultrasound pictures when I came out the hospital. He looked at them.
No, I did not.
He held them in his hand and looked at them.
No, I did not.
Picture of my ultrasound. It said, "You're having a boy." I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 4 months pregnant. I give that to him.
My friend sent me a picture
I give him that, okay?
As the judge prepares to reveal the DNA test results, the tension in the courtroom is unreal. Will the truth finally come out, or will this case end in even more drama and confusion? Let's find out.
Mr. Stone, you are not the father.
Told you I don't got lying about nothing. I know what I did. I paid for extra.
It's cool.
Not cool. Child.
It is cool. You proved it you wanted to. You proved that I'm such the whore that you think I am. You proved it.
Ms. Jones-Henry is sweating bullets. She is a 56-year-old woman who is about to meet the man she believes is her daughter's father for the first time since she conceived. Talk about a nerve-wracking moment. She's here to prove that Mr. Jackson is the biological father of her daughter, Melanie.
Any doubts?
But were there any other men?
No.
That's a two-part question.
I was in the military. I wasn't even 19 yet. She's just trying to trap another military man.
I was in love with him. Whether he was in love with me or not, I was in love with it. Do you understand how much that hurt Mrs. Jackson?
I just don't understand why he don't want me.
As Mr. Jackson enters the courtroom, you can cut the tension with a knife. Ms. Jones-Henry is visibly upset, and Melanie is clearly nervous about meeting her alleged father for the first time. The emotions are running high, and we're in for a bumpy ride.
Ms. Jones-Henry.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can feel the anger. I can cut the tension with the knife in here right now. And Melanie, how are you feeling right now in this moment, Ms. Jones?
I'm hurt. I feel a little lost, unwanted. This is my first time ever even seeing him. I've never even seen him up.
Talk about a tearjerker, Ms. Jones. Henry pours her heart out, expressing her hurt and confusion about why Mr. Jackson never wanted to be a part of her daughter's life. She's been waiting for this moment for years, hoping to finally get some closure. Melanie, on the other hand, is grappling with the reality of meeting her potential father.
I just don't understand why he don't want me.
I can see how much that hurts you, and
I don't believe I'm her father. I never did. I know she's been with other people, even while we were together, so.
Your Honor, excuse me. May I address it? It's not true.
She admitted that she's with someone else. I tricked her into admitting that she was with someone else.
So wait a minute, you saying you tricked her into admitting that?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, on the other hand, seems adamant that he is not the father. He claims that Ms. Jones-Henry was with other men during their relationship, and that he never believed he was the biological father. The courtroom is divided, with both parties sticking to their version of events. It's a classic case of he said, she said.
Were you with any other guy during the time
No, Your Honor.
your daughter was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
So take me back to this relationship. I want to try to understand. What was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Jackson?
When I met Mr. Jackson, I met him at a club. He was in the military. We were together all week long while he was there. We wasn't a fly-by-night. We was just together.
That was informative. So Ms. Jones-Henry and Mr. Jackson met at a club, and things escalated quickly from there. But Mr. Jackson seemed to have doubts from the get-go, citing red flags in their interactions. Was it a case of love gone wrong, or was there more to the story than meets the eye? We're about to find out.
And after this, did you find out you were pregnant, Ms. Jones-Henry?
A few months, and I told him. He wasn't either ecstatic or he just didn't give a reaction to it.
So no reaction?
None.
No joy?
None.
Nothing?
None.
Did he deny it at the time?
He didn't deny or he just gave no reaction.
Mr. Jackson, what were you thinking when she told you she was pregnant?
That she was lying.
When Ms. Jones-Henry revealed her pregnancy to Mr. Jackson, his reaction was less than enthusiastic. He dismissed her claims and called her a liar. The tension between them reaches a boiling point as they recount their version of events. This case is full of miscommunications and misunderstandings, but the truth is about to come to light.
No,
This question, he says, where he tried to trick you.
He never asked that question.
And so after you told him you're pregnant, were you still around, Mr. Jackson? Did you participate at all with the pregnancy?
No, he never participated. He left.
He left, and you went off to serve.
I was in the Marine Corps. I went off to, my duty station changed. It wasn't that I left. Like I had to leave. That was the end of my time at that.
Exactly, and we thank you for your service.
So Mr. Jackson just doubled down on his belief that he is not the father. He accuses Ms. Jones-Henry of trying to trap him and other military men into fatherhood. The accusations fly back and forth, painting a picture of a tumultuous relationship filled with mistrust and betrayal. It's a messy situation.
At some point, you get another piece of advice that since
since your checks had been garnished, they were small.
Right.
In order to get more money, you had to sign up for what was called dependence pay.
Right.
But you had to get some dependents.
Right.
And so what you did is you said you signed an affidavit of meaning you basically signed an affidavit of paternity, acknowledging paternity.
With emotions running high and tensions escalating, the judge is ready to finally reveal the DNA test results. This one was messy, and it could be about to get messier.
Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Really? I didn't have anybody.
He is not the father.
I did not.
You point all that blame on me, and you put your daughter through all that for nothing. That's just...
Mr. Jennings has been raising his daughter Taylor for 26 years, thinking he's her biological father. But his ex-wife, Ms. Lynn, is now saying he's not the daddy. And as you're about to see, there's a lot to unpack here.
Ain't no better to come on top of the mountain up there, so...
Oh, you went up on top of the mountain where the law don't come.
Yeah.
Make sure I don't go up on that mountain. Why do you question that he's your daughter's father?
He wasn't the only one I was sleeping with in order for me to get pregnant.
Like I felt my whole life was a lie, like my whole life was like over, you know?
These results truly mean everything to you today, then.
It's a make or break kind of thing, you know?
So Mr. Jennings is fuming, having to drag his ex to court over this bombshell revelation. He's been there for Taylor since day one, changing diapers and all, and now he's being hit with this paternity bombshell.
To drag your ex-wife to court because she is now claiming you are not her daughter's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lynn, you admit your ex-husband believed he's Taylor's father, but claim your daughter deserves the truth, and the fact is her daddy is not her biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lynn, on the other hand, claims that her daughter deserves the truth, and that Mr. Jennings may not be the biological father after all. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Taylor, the daughter in question, recalls the moment when her stepmother dropped the bombshell that Mr. Jennings might not be her real dad.
For her.
And you have no doubts all of these years, you say 26 years, this has been your baby girl. You've changed diapers, you've done whatever a father should do, and you love her. You've never had a doubt.
I've never had a doubt.
You and Mr. Jennings were married at one time.
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship.
We wanted to be together. We wanted to get married. All right, I was very young. My parents did not want us together at all. It was strictly forbidden.
But hold on a minute. Things take a wild turn when Ms. Lynn reveals that she was a teenage rebel who concocted a plan to get pregnant so she could marry Mr. Jennings. Yep, you heard that right. And that's not even the worst part.
And he knew this then.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You all developed a scheme as teenagers to get pregnant so that you can get married, but you slept with more than one guy?
Yes,
so
I
to
did.
make sure you got pregnant?
Yes, I did. I wanted to marry him that badly.
This was agreed upon?
It was something that he was well aware of.
Yes, you heard that right, folks. Ms. Lynn admits to sleeping with more than one guy around the time she got pregnant. Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Jennings had no idea about this little detail. So, what else has Ms. Lynn been keeping under wraps?
You went on
We'd be
up
safe.
there.
Couldn't nobody find us. And all.
Two teenagers, you all making this up. You all just, this is our plan, to be together.
Yeah, sometime in June, we came back down to Georgia. June the 21st, she was pregnant. We got everything, went to Carrollton Courthouse, got married. February 14th, Taylor was born.
Did you discover she was pregnant in Georgia, or did you discover she was pregnant on the mountain?
I think we was back in Georgia when we found out.
Now, Mr. Jennings comes in with a timeline that reads like a movie script. They ran away to a place where the law didn't dare to tread, got married, and boom, Taylor was born. It's like a real-life teen drama unfolding before our eyes. And we're not even halfway through the movie.
Oh, wait, when did you get married? Did you? It says June 21st.
That's correct.
Is that true? Do
That is
anybody
correct.
have proof of that? Bring up.
I do.
Jerome, let me see that, please. So you've presented to the court a marriage certificate.
From secret mountain hideaways to shotgun weddings, this story has it all. But wait, there's more. Ms. Lynn drops the bombshell that she found out she was pregnant in Georgia, not on the mysterious mountain hideaway. The plot thickens.
Go on your mom's social media page and start looking through her friends.
The first person I write, I ask him, and he says it's me. That's his exact words.
Really? Do you believe he is Taylor's biological father?
I honestly don't know, but she does look like it.
This entire scheme that was concocted was through the mind of a child. Here's a kid.
As the court tries to unravel this tangled web of teenage romance, it's clear that this case is far from over. So who's the real daddy? We're about to find out.
Mr. Jennings, you are not the father. I'm very sorry, Taylor. I know this was not the news you wanted.
Taylor, just remember this, baby. It takes more than having a baby to be a parent. He's always been your daddy. He's always gonna be your daddy.
Chastity Harris is caught in a love triangle between her current boyfriend, Mr. Murray, and her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Donaldson. Both men claim to be the father of her 18-month-old daughter, Ania.
Mr. Murray, you say you did not use protection.
We had a situation.
What's a situation?
Threesome.
Oh. Is there anything else you need to say in court?
I can't sit here no more.
Miss Harris?
So Chastity spills the tea on her relationship with Mr. Donaldson, who initially didn't even believe she was pregnant. Can you imagine that? He thought she was trying to trap him because he had feelings for someone else. Ouch. But hey, he eventually came around when she started showing. Better late than never, right?
So, Miss Harris, now you're currently in a relationship with Mr. Murray.
Yes.
But both Mr. Murray and Mr. Donaldson think they are your 18-month-old daughter Ania's biological father.
Yes.
Why is that? Let's talk about these relationships. Tell me about your relationship with Mr. Donaldson.
From my understanding, we was dating. But then when I got pregnant, he told me he had feelings for another girl.
That was Mr. Donaldson's mom, and now we know that she found out about the pregnancy pretty late. She thought her son was the dad because, well, Chastity said so. But things took a turn when Grandma met Ania and started having doubts.
You didn't believe she was pregnant, Mr. Donaldson?
Not at the beginning.
Why'd you feel like she was lying?
I felt like she was trying to ruin the relationship that I had.
Oh, you feel like she was trying to hang on to you by claiming that she was pregnant because you told her you were in love with somebody else.
That's right.
So, did you find out he wanted to be in a relationship with somebody else before you got pregnant or after you got pregnant?
It was after I got pregnant.
That was unexpected. During Ania's birth, Mr. Donaldson was at the hospital claiming his daddy duties. But wait, there's a twist. His mom saw someone named Fred around the baby, and suddenly the doubts started creeping in.
And so you say at some point he did accept that the baby was his?
I mean, he had to when he seen that my belly was big.
Oh, because you saying at first he didn't even believe it, so then when your stomach started growing.
No, he brought me a pregnancy test.
Oh, he did? All right. So you brought her a pregnancy test and said, prove it.
Yeah.
And she did.
By that time, it was too late. She was like big.
Meanwhile, Mr. Murray, Chastity's current boyfriend, is in the mix, believing he's Ania's father. He's been there for the baby, trying to make things work. But with all this paternity drama, it's hard to say if that's his kid or not.
I said, are you sure? Then I had to ask her how she was feeling about it because I was going around her family and they was telling me that she looked just like me.
So as you started going around and meeting her family, they start telling you that the baby looks just like you.
Exactly like.
As the court case unfolds, we learn more about the tangled web of relationships and doubts surrounding Ania's paternity. Mr. Donaldson's family accepted the baby at first, but things got messy and they started backing away. Can you blame them?
When were you intimate with Mr. Murray?
It was like in the middle of February, but he used protection.
So you were intimate with Mr. Murray around this time, but you say you used protection. But Mr. Murray, you say you did not use protection.
We had a situation December 14th.
What's a situation?
A threesome.
Oh, I didn't expect you to say that.
With Mr. Murray and Mr. Donaldson both claiming to be Ania's father, tensions are running high in the courtroom. Who will be proven to be the biological dad?
Mr. Gerald Donaldson, you are not the father. Mr. Murray, you are not the father.
I can't sit here no more.